Alright, so let's take a look at Math Review 3-4. Our first problem will be rounding, where we round 46 and 379 thousandths to the nearest whole number. Now, since we're rounding to the nearest whole number, the number that will either round up or stay the same will be in the ones place. That'll be our 6. And the number that tells us if we're rounding up or if we're staying the same is in our tenths place, which will be the 3. You get a star on your paper if you underline that 3. Now, remembering our rule of 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest, because 3 is less than 5, we know that our number is going to stay the same, and our answer should be 46. You get 2 stars for getting that correct, and a 3rd star if you did not put a 0 at the end, because we're rounding to the nearest whole number, not to the nearest tenth. So 46 and 0 tenths would be incorrect. And remember, our key idea for this particular problem is 5 or more, raise the score, 4 or less, let it rest. You get another star if you put that down. So that should give you a total of 5 stars for this problem. Now on to our next problem of subtracting decimals. We're going to subtract 42 and 76 hundredths minus 12 and 5 tenths. So we're going to go ahead and set up our problem over here on the side. Now here you'll get a star for setting up the problem, but one thing that we have to do for setting up our problem correctly is once we have our decimals lined up, we have to have all of our numbers lined up. And there's an empty space in 12 and 5 tenths, so we need to add that 0. You'll get a star for putting that 0, a star for lining up the decimals, and a star for setting the whole thing up correctly overall. Now once this is fully set up, all we need to do is subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6, 7 minus 5 is 2. Bring the decimal straight down. 2 minus 2 is 0, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So our answer should be 30 and 26 hundredths. So you get 1 star for each number that's correct, plus another star for bringing the decimal straight down. Our key idea for this particular problem is to line up our decimals. You get another star if you put that key idea, which should give us a total of 9 stars for this problem. Finally, we go on to our division, where we divide 4,389 by 19. So we're going to go ahead and set up our problem right here. And remember, with 4,389 is going to be our dividend, and 19 will be our divisor. So once we've done this, we need to set up our factor chart for our divisor, which is 19. We're going to go ahead and set it up from 1 all the way down to 10. So 1 times 19 is 19. 2 times 19 is 38. And then 57, 76, 95, 114, 133, 152, 171, and finally 19 times 10, which gives us 190. So you get 10 stars if you set up that whole factor chart correctly, 1 for each factor. Go ahead and take a moment, pause the video, and check over your factor chart now. Alright, now that you've checked over your factor chart, it's time to start working our problem. Make sure you put in 2 stars if you set up your problem correctly with 4,389 as your dividend inside the house and 19 as your divisor outside the house. So, we look at 19. How many times 19 can go into 4? Which it can't because 19 is too big. So we need to put a 0, and you'll get a star if you put your 0 there. 0 times 19 is 0. We subtract and make sure you have that subtraction sign. You get a star for it if you got it there. And 4 minus 0 gives us 4. Now we have to bring our 3 down, and we get 43. Based on our factor chart, 19 can go into 43 twice. There's another star for that. 2 times 19 gives us 38. We subtract again, and once more you get a star for setting up that subtraction problem. 43 minus 38 gives us, let's see, work it out, 5. And then we have to bring down our 8. 19 will go into 58 3 times, and 3 times 19 gives us 57. Set up our subtraction problem. Once again, get a star for that, and make sure you put a star for the 3 as well. 58 minus 57 gives us 1. And finally, we bring down our last number, our 9, to have 19. 19 goes into 19 just one time, and there's one more star for that. So then we have 1 times 19 gives us 19. Make sure you get a star for that subtraction problem as well. And our final remainder is 0. So 4,389 divided by 19 gives you 231. And we have a grand total. Oh, wait, we can't have a grand total yet. We need our key idea. I knew you were asking that. So our key idea that we need is to always write your multiplication chart. We always need that factor chart when we're doing division with big numbers such as that. If you have your key idea, go ahead and give yourself a star for that. So now we have a grand total of 21 stars. Make sure you mark that down on your own paper. So now we go to our reflection. But before we do that, let's take a look at our own personal score. We have 35 total stars. If you got all 35 stars, then congratulations. You got 100% and you did an awesome job. If you got less than 35, then we have an opportunity to work on that for next time. Our reflection this time is going to be, I could teach blank, but I need more practice on blank. Think of something that you can do so well now that you could teach it to somebody else, maybe at your table, or maybe in another group. And then think of something that you might have struggled with this time, something you might need a little more practice on, something you need to work with. Take some time to do your reflection, and when you're done, go ahead and return your math journal to where it needs to go.